I'm mixing this?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't know.
It's in your contract.
You think I read my contracts?
You have to read them.
Okay, well, am I getting free mics?
We'll talk about it.
Camera's ready.
We'll talk about it. You gotta give me
Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, I'm Isabelle, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how to mix a vocal session.
Oh my God.
If you'd like to follow along, you can check out the description below where I've linked all the stems that I'm using so you can just throw them into your DAW. Make sure you stick around to the end where I get into my favorite part of mixing. It's gonna get deep. Before we get started, I'm gonna have a quick listen to what the vocal files sound like without any processing, just raw as is. Let's check it out.
Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your backlog. A last month's thrills never log off.
Yes. This was a super fun vocal session. I loved working with Peggy on this one, and I love this track. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's do it. The first thing I'm going to do is some basic editing. Comping through takes, getting rid of any unwanted clicks or pops, and doing some volume automation. Comping means taking the best parts from several different vocal performances and gluing them together to make one seamless super take.
Super take.
I'll set my cycle area to just the first line, and I'll choose the best one.
Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog.
I think I like that one the best. All right, I'll move on to the next phrase.
Pepper social climber with your backlog. Pepper social climber with your backlog.
What do these two sound like together?
Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your backlog.
I think I like the last word from that phrase.
Daddy chased that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your backlog.
Normally while I'm comping, I go through each take and I kind of just let my body and my emotion guide my choices. It seems strange to just go word by word, but sometimes you just kind of feel it like, oh, the way that the singer said this word was really, really nice. Just trust your instincts, have a listen back, and it'll be great. I'm done comping all of the vocals in the song. You can see I've gone in and selected different parts of different vocal performances that I thought sounded the best. Now what I'd like to do is export those comps into new audio regions that I can actually work with and edit and manipulate. I'll just do that by clicking on the region there and export active comp to new track. And then it shows up here, and I'll rename it verse comp. And I'll go ahead and do that with every vocal section. So the next thing I'd like to do is edit out any unwanted clicks or pops or even breaths in the vocal that I don't want. Those usually happen in the dead space between vocals. There's a really quick tool that you can use in Logic, and I'm sure that your DAW will have something similar. In Logic, it's called Remove Silence. I'll show you how to use it now. Okay, so I've got the verse region highlighted here, and I'll press Control X on my keyboard to open up the Remove Silence tool. It's going to chop up the vocal section by removing all the silent parts based on the threshold that you set here. And you can play with all of these functions to get the exact edit that you want. And just like that, done. The next step is going to be automating the volume for the vocals. The voice is a really dynamic instrument that can get really loud and really soft during the performance. So I'm going to want to go in and automate the volume to make sure it's as level and even as possible. Okay, so to open up the automation parameters, you can press A on your keyboard. It's automatically set to volume. So if I just click anywhere in the region, it'll activate the automation line for the volume. I can click on the line to set a marker, click another one, and adjust the volume as needed. So you can see here that I'm just slightly bringing down some of the louder parts of her performance and then bringing up some of the quieter parts. You can even see this visually in the transients. The ones that are popping out really loud, you can just go in and bring them down a bit, and then the opposite for the lower ones. I've gone ahead and finished all the automation for all the vocal sections of the song. So now the next step is everybody's favorite, Auto-Tune. Auto-Tune. When using Auto-Tune, I try not to overdo it. I really like the way that Peggy sang this song, so I want it to sound as natural as possible. I don't really want people to be able to hear the auto-tune, but that's a totally creative decision that could be a sound that you could be going for. So feel free to play around with the settings to get the exact sound that you want. This song is in the key, Peggy's favorite key, F sharp minor. F sharp minor. I'm going to set the retune speed to medium to start with.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog.
I'll set it to slow to compare.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog.
Yeah, I think I like that better for the verse. It's a lot more natural sounding, and her performance was so great, I really don't want to overtune it. The next step is subtractive EQ. Now I'll be going in and removing any problem frequencies that I want to get rid of. When you have a look at it, again, it can be really intimidating. What does all this mean? Don't worry. First thing I'm going to do is add a high pass filter to get rid of all that low room noise that we just don't need in this vocal.
But you're in for one more round. You love me.
A neat trick that you can do is actually just close your eyes and just keep rolling this frequency over until the vocal starts to sound too thin or tinny. That means you've gone too far, and roll it back. After you've done that high pass filter, you can move on to the low mids. So when you're doing these cuts, you want to make sure they're not too broad, because if you get rid of too much, you're going to lose that essence and presence of the vocal.
Feel me, but you just won't set it down.
I'll turn the EQ on and off so you can hear the difference.
Feel me, but you just won't set it down. You want me, but you're in for one more round.
Yeah, so see, I think I've gotten rid of a little bit too much, so I'm going to roll that back a little bit and not be too aggressive with that. I don't think I'm going to have to go in and kind of remove any reflection frequencies that may have been in the room we recorded in. We use the Shure SM7B, which is a great mic to record in an untreated room. So I think we're done for now. The next step is de-essing. We do this to get rid of sibilance. You get the point. I'll play with the frequency of where I think her S's are happening.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog.
And again, I don't want to be too harsh with this because I don't want to remove the natural sound of her voice.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog. Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog.
Yeah, it's really subtle. Just to be safe, we're going to leave it on. Next up is compression. Vocals love compression. Remember how I already automated the volume of the vocal so that it's less dynamic? Well, using compression is just the icing on the cake. A compressor will squash the peaks of the volume so that it stays more consistent. And depending on the type of compressor that you use, it can even add some extra color to the voice. If you want to learn more about compression, you can check out the Lander blog for great resources. I'm going to use a couple of different kinds of compressors that I think will sound really good on Peggy's voice. This one is modeled after the 1176 compressor. I'll play with the settings.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog. A last month's thrills never log off. Swiping for your props on the last shot. Saw me roll through skirt in the rag top. Breaking neck trying to keep me in, not shot. You never seen a queen with a boss lean. Catch me son, yeah, running with your side B.
Cool, so on this vocal I decided to use a pretty fast attack, a bit slower of a release, and I played with the threshold and the ratio as well as the output gain to make sure that there wasn't a huge difference when the compressor was on and off. And you can see I'm getting about -7 dB of gain reduction. That's super important. Next up, more compression. And this time it's going to be modeled after the LA2A. And again, I want about -7 dB of gain reduction with a pretty quick attack and a slower release.
Chase that cloud like a hound dog. Pepper social climber with your back blog. A last month's thrills never log off. Swiping for your props on the last shot.
I like to use 2 compressors, one after the other, instead of just using one to do a huge job. That way each of them can do something a little bit more subtle and not so drastic. The next thing I'll do is use additive EQ. Instead of cutting frequencies, I'm going to be boosting them. This will help add even more color to Peggy's voice. I'll add another EQ and I'll have a listen.
You love me, but not when she's in town. Let's talk me. Go on, sit in the crowd.
So I think I'm just going to add this 6K high shelf around here to bring out that expensive quality of Peggy's voice, and then a broad boost around 200 to add a little bit more body. Overall, I think that's it. Okay, as promised, my favorite part, adding reverb and delay. Depth. I like to use the sends for reverb and delay so I can blend them in as needed. So I'll add a reverb to this bus. Make sure it's 100% wet. And you'll also want to make sure that you EQ out your effects so that there's not some extra mud in the mix. So that's good. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to blend in this reverb to taste.
Feel me, but you just won't set it down. You want me, but you went for one more round. You love me, but not when she's in town. Best talk me. Go on, send in the clowns.
Awesome. Next, I'll add some delay. And again, you want to make sure that you filter out your delay so that there aren't extra frequencies muddying up the vocal. And I'll put it to quarter notes. And again, make sure the mix is set to 100%, and we'll blend it into taste.
But you went for one more round. You love me, but not when she's in town. Best talk me.
All right, and that's basically it. Let's have a listen to the chorus vocal with and without all the processing.
But you went for one more round. You love me, but not when she's in town. Best talk me. Go on, send in the clowns. Feel me, but you just won't set it down. You want me, but you went for one more round. You love me.
Now I'm going to send it over to Lorenzo, aka I Am Legend, so he can add some ear candy in the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that stuff. We want to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite part of mixing? EQ, compression, reverb, delay? I know it's reverb and delay. And thank you again to Shure for making this video possible. See ya!
And cut.
Thank you.